Read verse 2, read 12 for him, brother.
Verse 12. You may not discourage young women from getting an abortion.
Oh my gosh. So that means pastors in the pulpit cannot tell young women, our young women, don't get an abortion. Even though them brothers know that's not right according to the scripture. So if you an Israelite contemplating this, you can't tell your family or your brother or sister that they can't deal with abortion. And you still want to deal with this? Read 13 for him, brother.
Let me finish this one.
Oh, go ahead.
Or endorse the pro-life movement.
Endorse what?
The pro-life movement.
The Most High is about life. That's why we walking the globe right now. And what was the first thing he told us, brother? Let's get the script.
Okay, yeah.
Get the script form.
This is the very first commandment he gave to man.
Right. The very first commandment. And they telling you don't be pro-life.
Genesis 1:28. And the Most High blessed them, and the Most High said unto them, be fruitful and multiply.
Don't deal with life.
Be fruitful and multiply.
That's pro-life. Period. First commandment given to man. Our very first foreparents. And they telling us don't deal with that.
Straight wickedness.
Matter of fact, let's get another precept for him. Did you read 13? On prohibition?
Oh, yeah, we did it. 13. You may not teach that abortion, especially partial birth abortion, is murder.
Oh my goodness.
And is the killing of innocent babies.
Oh my God. So you can't speak the truth concerning abortion. And we know that through legislation pushed by the king of this country right now, you can kill babies up to what time?
Like 8 months, I think.
The baby can be fully developed and you can go get an abortion. Late term abortion. But let's see what the scripts say about that. Genesis 9:6. So once again, you're thinking about being a 501c3 organization, this is what you face with. You have to put your conscience in the balance. Genesis 9:6 for him, brother.
Genesis 9:6. Whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed.
You see that? The Most High is not playing when it comes down to willful murder. And that's what you're doing to them poor innocent children when you're sucking them up through that vacuum tube. You're straight murdering the kids, man. Get Exodus 20 and 13 for them. And one of the very first things that we learn as Israelites is the fact that the Christian realm has lied to us and told us we ain't got to keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High.
Exodus 20 and 13. Thou shalt not murder.
You shall not murder. And that goes for when the Most High puts that seed together and allows that seed to connect with the ovary, it's life. You cannot murder that thing. Period. Because it's not a thing. It's life. Got anything you want to add?
Hey, it's crystal clear.
Let's get another one for him out of the new covenant. 1 Peter 4 and 15. So once again, for our brothers that's contemplating this, put these scriptures in your balance of your mind. Contemplate this thing.
1 Peter 4 and 15. But let none of you suffer as a murderer.
As a what?
As a murderer.
Let none of you suffer as a murderer. So according to this 501c3, you cannot teach our children that they cannot kill their kids, man. It's simple. Very simple. Let's go to the next prohibition. 14.
14. You may not identify homosexuality as sin.
What?
You may not identify homosexuality as sin and an abomination to the Most High.
You see that? You see that? When we hit these streets, this is one of the things that you got to bring out. Especially trying to bring Jake back, is the men got to get back in order first and foremost. And it's our men that have been effeminized in this system. And this system getting ready to go down just like Sodom and Gomorrah. Anytime your president come out and say that it's okay for a man to marry a man, a woman to marry a woman, this place is almost out of here. But they tell you, what?
That you may not identify homosexuality as sin and an abomination to the Most High.
Let's get the script for him, right? Leviticus 18 and 22.
Leviticus 18 and 22. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is abomination.
It's an abomination to the Most High. So forget what these people's legislation is talking about. The Most High is not dealing with that. It's an abomination. But they telling you, you sign up. You can't tell people the truth. You got something to that out?
I mean, if you sign this thing, if you actually read this thing, you just flat out wicked. There ain't no way around it. You got the conscience within you to know that you shouldn't do it. If you read this thing and you signed it anyway, you all out wicked. I already thought pastors was completely wicked. I've been had a vendetta against them. Now reading this thing, I can't stand them even more.
Exactly. And I'm not going to lie, within my own conscience, after reading this, it makes you think. Because we give pastors the benefit of the doubt. We say, well, okay, some of these dudes is trying to be upright. And then they get in there and that filthy lookie get poured in front of their face and they fall away. But if these guys actually went in and read this and signed it anyway to become a pastor, it show you where their heart was at. They wasn't right at all. So that really goes for you Israelites that know who you are.
You going to 8 o'clock or what?
Yeah, get 15. Read Prohibition 15 and I'll go to 8 o'clock.
Okay. 15. You may not express an opinion on any subject or issue. Well, I would just leave that to the congregation.
Right.
You
can't even stand up and be a man and bring forth a righteous opinion according to this thing, man.
God the judge, I'm just, I ain't gonna say nothing.
And it goes to show that's exactly where that mentality came from. Well, I'm not gonna judge. That's exactly where that mentality came from. This thing was being instituted by this system. Read Prohibition 16 for him, man. And then we're going to hit that script. So this is the kicker right here. Because one of the main things that we found out when we found out we was Israel, you know that it's a judgment coming to this place and abroad. But what do they say?
16. You may not appeal to people's emotions by employing an evangelization method such as fire and brimstone preaching.
Okay, let's stop right there. What is this thing really saying? It's saying that you cannot play on the heartstrings of people and tell them that they got to turn from sin or they're going to face judgment. This is what they're talking about. Fire and brimstone is that lake, people. But they're telling you, don't do this. Read.
Not considered a reasonable approach by the IRS.
So it's not considered a reasonable approach by the IRS. You know why? Because it's the adversary behind it. And he wants you going to the lake right with him.
Right.
Let's get the scripts on it. Let's go to Sirach 4 and 28. The book of Ecclesiasticus 4 and 28. This is the wisdom that us Israelite men and women that love the Most High must possess.
4 and 28. Ecclesiastes or Sirach 4:28. Strive for the truth unto death.
Strive for the truth unto death. This is the mentality and the spirit that we need to possess in these last days. We got to be able to fight for this truth to the death. Are you willing to do that?
And the Most High shall fight for thee.
So the Most High, our captain, is going to fight for us once we stand firm for his word. So these people don't want us to turn our people away from their sins and bring forth the fact that the Most High is bringing judgment out here. Is that something you want to add?
I mean, this script says it all.
But let's get some more for you. Let's go to the book of Jude. Pick it up at the 3rd verse. The book of Jude, verse 3.
Jude 3. Beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation, it was needful for me to write unto you and exhort you that ye should earnestly contend for the faith.
When you contend with something, that means you fight. We are to earnestly contend for the faith. Read.
Which was once delivered unto the saints.
So this truth was delivered to the saints or the children of Israel. We are to fight for this thing and represent the Most High in the earth.
For there are certain men crept in unaware, who were before of old ordained to this condemnation.
To this what?
Condemnation.
Condemnation or judgment. And this is what that Prohibition 16 said that you can't deal with. Drop down to verse 23.
Verse 23.
Because remember, it says you can't preach what? Fire and brimstone, right? Fire judgment. Read.
And others saved with fear, pulling them out of the fire.
Out of the what?
Out of the fire. Hating even the garment spotted by flesh.
Now, what did it say at the top of that verse?
And others say with fear.
With fear. What is fear?
To be afraid.
It's to be afraid, but it's an emotion. That precept of their so-called legislation said, do not use emotion.
Exactly.
To teach about fear. To teach about fiery judgment.
Crystal clear.